We're getting straight into this, guys. Recently, Scott Jennings appeared on Abby Phillip's show, where he defended Trump in an extremely moronic way. We all know how low he can go to defend Trump's policies. That's basically his job, to come on CNN and present Trump's bad decisions in a way that makes them look good for Americans. And honestly, he often ends up having a meltdown while trying to do it. As you guys all know, the Supreme Court recently rejected one of Trump's stupid policies, which was a major blow to the MAGA world. When that decision came out, Trump got furious and started attacking the judges and disrespecting the court.
Justices Gorsuch and Barrett, are you surprised in particular by their decision today? And do you regret nominating them?
I don't want to say whether or not I regret. I think their decision was terrible. Yeah. I think it's an embarrassment to their families. You want to know the truth.
But in the end, he realized there was nothing he could do, and because of that, Mehdi Hasan straight up caught Scott Jennings lying and embarrassed him badly, and Abby Phillip completely destroyed him when she exposed his nonsense with proper proof. Before we jump into all this, please press the bell notification after you subscribe. Subscribing alone isn't enough. Make sure you hit the bell icon too so you get my latest videos directly. Now here we go.
Over the next couple of years, I will just say, politically today, it was a big breaking news day, but I just think we ought to acknowledge something. This is a properly functioning government today. The President of the United States, the head of the executive branch, made a policy decision. The Supreme Court, that renders legal opinions about these kinds of decisions, made a decision. They said you can't do that. The President of the United States said, okay, I agree. And I will acknowledge your decision. I am going to use a different statute to try to do what I want to do. This is properly functioning government. And I'll tell you one more thing. For every Democrat and every media person that has gone on for the last year or two about how the Supreme Court is a wholly owned subsidiary of Donald Trump, that it's not independent, that it does whatever he says to do, obviously that narrative was obliterated today. So to me, I thought the ruling was sound. I think the president is sound to try other statutes. And I think the narratives about the court not being independent and the president not obeying the court were totally blown up today.
That was a very charitable explanation of what took place today, Scott. You should be paid a lot of money from the Trump administration for helping to...
Oh, no, I get paid a lot of money here.
Well, I know you
just
do.
To be clear.
And in other places, too. But you should be paid by the Trump administration for what you said, because the reality is that the president didn't just accept the ruling like you said he did.
Yes, he did.
He got up
he
there.
He
got up there in the press conference today, and he attacked the U.S. Supreme Court justices. He said that they should be embarrassed for their families for making a decision that stood up to him. He attacked them and said they were disloyal and unpatriotic. He said they were disloyal to the Constitution even. That's more than disagreement. That's irresponsible rhetoric.
This kind of reaction is what you give when you realize you really messed up. Just look at his face. He looks like he's about to cry and wants to walk off the show because he knows he screwed up. Mehdi Hasan called him out directly by saying, "Jennings lies about how Trump reacted to the ruling. And then, when caught out in the lie, he literally brags about being paid lots of money by CNN to do what he does, which is to lie on air. CNN should be embarrassed, but it isn't, sadly." That's why I like Mehdi. He's brave enough to call out your lies right to your face. He's not the type of guy who's scared of being canceled. And now, here comes the most interesting part. The moment when Scott Jennings completely dies inside after Abby Phillip literally reads the documents and fact-checks him on the spot.
Huge in trade negotiations. He thinks it's helped him solve some of these peace agreements. He thinks it gives the American president, in any room that person is in, this massive cudgel against other countries to extract outcomes that we want on a number of fronts. So I think the last point you made is very true.
And he's wrong about that.
Why is he wrong about it?
Chief Justice Roberts said this: the president asserts the extraordinary power to unilaterally impose tariffs of unlimited amount, duration, and scope. In light of the breadth, history, and constitutional context of that asserted authority, he must identify clear congressional authorization to exercise it. He's pretty crystal clear. That's the scope. There's a reason that, according to Chief Justice Gorsuch and 6 other Supreme Court justices, Congress does not give that power to the president. And it has to do with the fact that, as we just discussed, tariffs like taxes, cost people money. Money comes out of their pockets and goes to the Treasury. And that is a power that belongs to Congress. And if Congress, which is, controlled by the president's party, supports the president's agenda, and if these tariffs are so popular and such a key to economic prosperity, two questions. Why are they so unpopular? Why do Americans say 56% say they hurt the economy? And why won't Congress just codify them?
So what I would say that, first of all, Article 2, Section 2 of the Constitution gives the president the right to work on international affairs, manage international affairs, and trade, period. Hard stop. He has the right to implement tariffs. That's not the question here. The question is IEEPA. To loop back to the benefits that we've seen.
Did you hear anything that I just read?
I did, but it's actually
listen,
not
I
accurate.
understand what you're saying.
They did just rule on the narrow statute.
Just a second. I understand the context of what you're saying in that they're ruling on IEEPA. But what Chief Justice Roberts is saying is that what Trump is asserting is that using national security as a justification to impose tariffs of any size, scope, and duration is not constitutional. He says that very clearly here.
That is IEEPA. That's fine.
Okay. So we're in agreement on that. The president has limited authorities that are delegated by Congress to impose trade restrictions under certain circumstances, under other statutes, but it is not broad, it is not unlimited, and it is not forever. Correct?
No, that's actually not correct. He has congressional authority to issue and implement tariffs under Section 122.
Under limited
They each have their own limits
that
and
is
their own
delegated by Congress. That is the only
Section
point that I'm making.
Section 232, for example, gives him the ability to put tariffs at 50% across the board.
The only point that I'm making is
they're substantial.
The only point that I'm making is that Congress determines what powers he has in those
They've
realms.
already determined.
There's no doubt that because of Trump's terrible leadership, the entire Republican Party is in hot water. But they're also in trouble for another reason: the brain-dead members within their own party. Just recently, Republican Mike Lawler was exposed and humiliated on CNN for saying he doesn't support tariffs while voting in favor of them. Lawler publicly said on February 18th that he doesn't support tariffs. But then he voted for a bill that would raise tariffs, which experts say could cost American families around $2,850 a year because prices would go up.
They believe they need to use tariffs. The fact is, from my vantage point, as I've said from the very beginning, as a means by which to force trade renegotiations, I had no problem with it. As a long-term mechanism by which to keep in place, I don't support. And so the question will be now, how does Congress, which frankly has abdicated its responsibility on tariffs for almost 100 years.
Well, what about
you? It didn't just start this year.
The president's threatening.
It has been going on for over 100 years where Congress has basically given the executive a lot of authority on tariffs. Now you have the Supreme Court weighing in and saying, no, Congress has a role. And so we are going to be working through that process as we move forward. And I think it's going to be incumbent on the administration to sit down with Congress to determine the best path
Just
forward.
real quick, and I want to keep going around. The president is already withdrawing his support for one of your colleagues because he defied the president on tariffs. Does that make you think twice about voting against tariffs?
No, I'm not worried about that. I'm focused on the substance of the issue, and we will work through it.
Rebecca?
I mean, Congressman, didn't you vote for tariffs? I think this is the whole problem is you're making life harder for people in your district, right? Like costs are going up and you say Congress should be in check, but you haven't checked the president's power. You haven't let him moderate at all. He's unchecked, and the only Republicans who ever go at him are people who are either retiring or who have lifetime appointments. I think this is the problem with the Republican Party today. No one wants to go up against Trump. He's making life harder for everyday Americans. Costs are going up, and no one in his party will stand up to him.
Respectfully, I've pushed back on numerous things. Part of the reason that I was able to deliver SALT, you talk about affordability. New York State is going to see an average of $4,000 tax cut because I fought back against my own party.
You didn't stand
I
up
have
to him
pushed
on
back
tariffs.
against the
with
president
him, with
on
him
the ACA.
Iran going
on the
unchecked
ACA,
power.
excuse me. I let you speak. Let me speak. On the ACA, I'm the one who just discharged the bill so that we actually got it past the House. With respect to tariffs,
let me
my
get,
point,
guys,
hold
this
on,
is a very
excuse me.
interesting
My
conversation.
point,
Congressman, I do want to get, sorry to interrupt you. I want to get
far be it from us to be on this panel. We over here eating the popcorn. This is very interesting. This is very interesting.
One thing I've noticed about a lot of MAGA supporters is that they seem completely radicalized in their thinking. No matter how many facts you put in front of them, they just don't seem willing to change their minds. Now guys, let me know your take. What do you think about Trump and his party's decisions?